Hey everybody, I am your narrator for today's story, and I'm gonna start reading from a laptop screen, and I really hope everybody will enjoy it. So let's start. The moment my wife called me just a driver, something inside me went silent, and silence can be more dangerous than anger. The ballroom lights were cold.
Lights were gold and soft. Crystal glasses clinked. Laughter floated like perfume in the air. Ethan Cole stood beside his wife, Olivia, in a perfectly pressed black suit. His hands rested lightly on the small of her back. She looked stunning in a deep blue gown, her hair swept up, her smile sharp and bright. To the world, they looked perfect. To Ethan, she was still the girl who once burned toast in their first apartment and laughed until she cried. Relax, he whispered near her ear. You look like you already own the company. She smiled, but I didn't reach her eyes. Not yet. He kissed her shoulder softly. You will. That was how they were at home, warm, teasing, close. Mornings filled with coffee and soft touches. Nights where she would curl into his chest and say, Promise me we'll always stay like this. He always promised, but tonight felt different. This was her company's annual corporate gala. Senior executives, investors, big names, and Olivia was rising fast. Olivia, a tall man with silver hair, approached, holding a drink. We've heard great thing about your last quarter. Her smile switched, polished, professional. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. That means a lot. His eyes moved to Eden. And this is? There was a pause, just half a second, but Ethan felt it. Olivia laughed lightly. Oh, this is my ride tonight. A few people nearby chuckled. Every executive needs a good driver, someone joked. More laughter. Eden smiled. Not a forced smile, not angry, just calm. Traffic wasn't too bad. He added smoothly, I specialize in delivery. Another round of light laughs. Olivia squeezed his arm, but her fingers felt tense. Mr. Harrington nodded politely. Well, good man. Getting her here safely is important. Ethan inclined his head. I always make sure what's valuable arrives on time. The words hung in the air. Olivia didn't look at him. The conversation moved on. Market growth, expansion, supply chain struggles. Ethan stood quietly, listening. He knew every word they were saying because his company handled distribution for three of the firms they mentioned. Cole's freight system started with one truck, now operating across the states, but he never bragged, never corrected her. At home, Olivia used to say she admired that about him. You're powerful without needing to show it. She once whispered against his lips. Tonight, she pretended it didn't exist. Later, as she moved across the room networking, Eden stepped toward the bar. Whiskey, he said softly. Neat? The bartender asked. Always. Ethan Cole. The voice came from his left. Ethan turned. A middle aged woman with sharp eyes and a confident stance studied him. Yes, her lips curved slightly. Diane Porter, Summit Industrial. Aiden nodded respectfully. Of course. We finalized the West Coast distribution lanes last year. Her eyebrow lifted. So you are that Ethan Cole. He smiled faintly. Depends who's asking. She chuckled. Your efficiency reports are so impressive. Saved us nearly 12% in losses. I just deliver what I promise, he replied calmly. Across the room, Olivia laughed loudly at something her director said. Diane followed his gaze. She didn't introduce you properly. It wasn't a question. Ethan took a slow sip of whiskey. Tonight isn't about me. Diane studied him carefully. Interesting. There was respect in her eyes now. Well, Mr. Cole, I look forward to our upcoming discussions. Likewise. As she walked away, Ethan's phones buzzed. A message from his operations manager. Big inquiry from Harrington Group. They want a proposal next week. Ethan looked across the ballroom again. Harrington Group, Olivia's company. He typed back. Schedule it. Standard terms. He slipped the phone away. Later that night, in the quiet of their bedroom, Olivia removed her earrings slowly. You were very quiet tonight, she said. Ethan loosened his tie. It was your night. She met his eyes in the mirror. You're not upset, are you? He walked toward her. His hands rested on her waist. Should I be? Her breath softened. I just didn't want them judging. Judging what? She hesitated. That you run, you know, trucks. He smiled gently. They are very nice trucks. She laughed weakly. He leaned closer, brushing his lips softly along her shoulder. Not rushed, not demanding, just warm. I'm proud of you, he murmured. She turned in his arms, wrapping hers around his neck. I'm proud of you too, but something in her voice sounded rehearsed. He kissed her slowly, deep but tender, the kind of kiss that says, I choose you. For a moment, everything felt normal. Her fingers slid into his hair. Promise me you're not hurt, she whispered against his mouth. He looked into her eyes. I'm not hurt. That was true. He wasn't hurt. He was aware, and awareness changes things. She pulled him toward the bed, resting her head on his chest later, tracing slow circles over his heart. You'll always support me, right? She asked softly. I always support what I believe in. She didn't catch the difference. Her breath slowed as she drifted to sleep. Ethan started at the ceiling, his arm around her, his mind steady. Respect is quiet, power is quieter. And the truth never needs an introduction. The next morning, Olivia would walk into a meeting she wasn't prepared for, and soon she would understand. You should never call the man who moves the world for you just a driver, because sometimes he owns the road. The next morning felt normal, too normal. Sunlight slipped through the curtains. Olivia stood in front of the mirror adjusting her blazer. Ethan sat at the edge of the bed tying his watch. You'll pick me up at 7, right? She asked casually. Of course, he said. Your driver is reliable. She froze for a half second. He smiled gently, but the words carried a soft edge. She walked over and kissed his cheek. Don't start. I'm not, he replied calmly. I deliver. Remember? She exhaled. Ethan. But her phone buzzed before she could finish. Emergency meeting, 9 a.m. Attendance mandatory. She frowned. That's strange. Ethan stood, adjusting his cuffs. Big companies move fast. She didn't notice the meaning behind that. At the office, the boardroom felt tense. Her department head, Gregory Mills, paced slowly. We are restructuring our distribution channels, he announced. Costs are too high. Delays are unacceptable. Olivia straightened in her seat. This was her project area. We are negotiating with a new vendor. Gregory continued. Coal Freight Systems. The name hit her like cold water. Coal? Her pulse quickened. Gregory clicked the remote. A slide appeared. Cold Freight System, Regional Director, Ethan Cole. The room filled with quiet murmurs. Olivia stared at the screen. Her Ethan? Her driver? Gregory continued, unaware of the storm building inside her. This company has cut losses for three major partners in the past 2 years. Efficiency ratings are outstanding. Someone asked, what's their weakness? Gregory shook his hand. None we've found yet. Olivia swallowed. Her phone buzzed under the table. A message from Ethan. Meeting next Tuesday. I'll be there personally. Her breath felt tight. He had never mixed business and home before, and now he would walk into her world. That evening at home, silence stretched between them. She stood in the kitchen, watching him roll up his sleeves as he cooked. You knew? She said quietly. He didn't look up. Knew what? That my company was negotiating with yours? He flipped the pan gently. I received an inquiry, and you didn't tell me? He finally looked at her. Would you have introduced me differently if I had? The question wasn't loud, but it was heavy. She looked away first. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? She walked toward him, frustration rising. I worked hard to be taken seriously. I didn't want them thinking I married some what? He asked softly. She stopped. Some truck owner, some small businessman, some background man. Her silence answered him. Ethan nodded slowly. I built my company from nothing, he said gently. Long nights, missed holidays, so you could finish your MBA without debt. Her eyes watered. I know that. Do you? He stepped closer, not angry, not loud, just real. I have never been embarrassed of you, Olivia. Her voice cracked. I wasn't embarrassed of you. You were afraid they'd be embarrassed of you. That landed. She looked at him like she was seeing him clearly for the first time in months. I was scared, she admitted softly. Of what? That they wouldn't see me as powerful, maybe. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Power doesn't come from pretending, he said quietly. It comes from standing beside truth. Her breath trembled. She leaned into him, resting her forehead against his chest. I'm sorry, she whispered. He wrapped his arms around her. The hug wasn't passionate. It was steady, grounded. She lifted her face slowly. Kiss me, she said softly. He did, slow, deep, not urgent, but full of history. Yet, even in that closeness, something had shifted. Love was still there, but so was distance. And distance, once born, demands to be faced. Tuesday arrived. The bedroom doors opened, conversations stopped. Ethan walked in wearing a charcoal suit, posture calm, expression composed. Beside him stood his operations director, Samuel Brooks. Gregory stood quickly. Mr. Cole, welcome. Ethan shook his hand firmly. Thank you for having us. His eyes moved across the table. They paused on Olivia. Professional, neutral. Miss Cole, he said politely. Her throat tightened. Mr. Cole. Several co-workers shifted uncomfortably. Someone whispered, That's her husband? Another replied. The driver? Silence felt heavy. Ethan began the presentation. Clear numbers, strong data, confident strategy, no arrogance, just facts. Our goal, he said smoothly, is to ensure what matters reaches its destination without delay. Olivia felt every word like it had two meanings. Gregory leaned forward. Your rates are higher than our current provider. Ethan nodded. Our value is high too. Samuel added. We don't compete on cheap, we compete on reliable. Ethan glanced briefly at Olivia. We don't offer discounts based on familiarity, only a long term respect. The double meaning hung in the air. Olivia felt her cheeks burn. Gregory asked, Are you open to flexible terms? Ethan replied calmly, We are open to fair terms. Another executive asked, Would you consider a loyalty adjustment? Ethan smiled faintly. Loyalty should never be assumed, it should be demonstrated. The room was silent. Olivia finally spoke. Your performance metrics are impressive. He met her eyes. Thank you. We take pride in delivering more than expected. She understood. Every word was professional, but every word carried truth. By the end of the meeting, one thing was clear. They needed him more than he needed them. Power had shifted, and everyone could feel it. That night, Olivia closed that door behind her harder than necessary. You embarrass me, she said. Ethan removed his watch calmly. How? You made everything sound personal. I spoke about business. You made me look small. He turned slowly. You introduced me small. Silence exploded between them. Tears fell from her eyes. I hate that I did that, she cried. I hate that I cared what they thought. He stepped closer. I don't need your coworkers' respect, he said quietly. I needed yours. Her knees felt weak. I was afraid they'd see me as less. He touched her face gently. You are not less because of who you love. She broke then, sobbing into his chest. I'm so sorry. He held her tightly. I don't want to compete with you, she whispered. You never were. She looked up. Why didn't you just tell them who you are? He smiled sadly. Because I wanted you to. That truth shattered her pride completely. She reached for him desperately. I see you, she said through tears. I see everything now. He kissed her forehead slowly. Good, he whispered. They held each other like two people choosing each other again. No ego, no audience, just love. 1 week later, another company event, smaller, more intimate. Olivia stood beside Ethan again. This time, when Gregory approached, she didn't hesitate. I'd like you to meet my husband, she said clearly. Ethan Cole, founder and CEO of Cole Freight Systems. No laughter, only respect. Gregory extended his hand immediately. Impressive work, Mr. Cole. Ethan shook it calmly. Thank you. Olivia slipped her hand into his, proud, open, unshamed. Later, under soft light, she leaned close. You really do own the road, she whispered playfully. He smiled. And you? I finally learned how to stand beside it. He pulled her gently in a slow dance, not flashy, not dramatic, just steady, strong. She rested her head on his chest. I'll never shrink you to make myself look bigger again. He kissed the top of her head, and I'll always look beside you. Not in front, not behind. Together. The music faded, but something stronger remained respect. Because love without respect is fragile, but love with respect, it moves mountains, and sometimes it owns the road. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing please, because sometimes the strongest power is the one that never needs to shout.